Armen, Levack, ESPN Radio 104.5, The Team. We are joined by Wally Matthews of ESPN New York, a great follow on Twitter, ESPN NY Yankees. Wally, I know you're busy with the Yankees, but I've seen you cover the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight like nobody's business on Twitter. Did you see it live? How did you cover this thing so well?
That was in Boston with the Yankees, but I did see it on the big screen at a sports bar, and I'm rewatching it now on my own TV, and I have very definite opinions on it, especially on Manny's claim that he had an injured shoulder. I think, first of all, athletes have, especially a boxing match where you're going to see two specific athletes perform. I think if you're not 100%, you have an obligation to the public not to fight. So I think that Manny may be opening himself up here to some kind of accusation. The Nevada Athletic Commission might even, if they get angry enough, if he's going to accuse them of not treating him correctly, they might very well say, you know what, Manny, you weren't fit to fight. We're not paying you.
Now, some people are trying to draw the comparison to other sports, like baseball, if your pitcher isn't there, or football, if your quarterback isn't there. That doesn't hold true, though, because if those guys aren't there.
Let's take it to a better parallel, Broadway show, okay? You go to see Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane's sick that night. They offer you a refund at the door, don't they?
Absolutely.
So, Manny Pacquiao's not 100%. He shouldn't be fighting, and maybe they should have turned up in a pre-fight exam. But honestly, I'm rewatching the fight right now. I don't see any sign that he's got a shoulder problem here. It sounds like something that's being cooked up to try to draw up a rematch. But like I said, when you start saying, "Hey, it wasn't right," well, then why did you fight? And where, do you deserve your $80 million? You open yourself up to a lot. And I tell you what, if I was a fan who paid $100 to buy this, I'd be pretty upset with Manny Pacquiao today.
Now, does this make you want to see a rematch, more or less?
Hell no. I don't see any reason why the fight would be different the second time around. As I said, I'm rewatching it, and I don't see any sign that there's a problem with Manny Pacquiao's shoulder. If it hurts, fine. I mean, he was using it throughout the fight. I don't see any way that he reverses this result. And, I mean, if we think the fight happened 5 years too late the first time, it'll happen 6 years too late the second time.
That's a fair point. The Yankees, with the exception of last night, seem to have a little bit of a roll going. That in the light of the guys growing mustaches. We've had some speculation here on the show that they wouldn't have done this with Jeter there, that Jeter kept them more professional, and maybe, just maybe, it's helpful for the team to not have the captain there right now.
Maybe, but just the visual of Jeter with a mustache and that shaved head, kind of funny to me. I guess he would have looked a little bit like Brett Gardner. Yeah, maybe. I think there may be some a little bit of a sense of hey, we can all exhale now because the captain's not around anymore. But I'm not so sure he would have stopped him from doing that. I mean, in the past, I had asked Jeter several times about the behavior of some players, and you probably can guess who one of them was, and he would always say the same thing: "I don't get involved in that. It's none of my business." It's possible that they would have done it anyway. Obviously, all the guys growing mustaches would have taken sideways glances at Jeter's locker to make sure it was okay. But I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility. I think one guy that it does have an effect on is Alex. I think there's no doubt that Alex Rodriguez is more relaxed for that, Derek, here. I just think that, all the things that went on over the past 18 months with Alex, might not have sat all that well with Derek. And I think just without him in the room, I think it makes Alex a little bit more relaxed.
Speaking of Alex, he's been taking the high road, with everything, talking about family business. Has he handled his return to baseball and the Yankees perfectly?
I can't think of a way he could have done better, quite honestly. I mean, look, it's not great for me or for the guys who cover the team because, we're trying to get a juicy quote out of him or some kind of retaliation, hit back in some way, and he refuses to do that, and I think that's helped him win back a lot of the fans who are a little skeptical, but I think the thing that really helped him win back the fans is that he's hitting. There's nothing wins over fans like good performance.
We're joined by ESPN New York's Wallace Matthews. You can follow him online, ESPN NY Yankees. It's Armen, Levack, ESPN Radio 104.5, The Team. So last night's game, Girardi's coming under a little bit of fire for two decisions. First off, should he have pulled Chase Whitley when he pulled him?
Well, that's a classic second guess. When was Betances ever a bad idea? Obviously, Chris Martin has had his ups and downs, but Girardi loves him. He loves his stuff. He loves the fact that he's an intimidating presence on the mound. Chase Whitley, has basically been a AAA pitcher for most of the season and spring training. I don't think if everything works according to plan and they win the game 1-0, we're not having this conversation right now. So I wouldn't say, that's not one that I would criticize him for.
Wally, is the fact that Stephen Drew was batting fifth last night a sign that the Yankees are a little short on depth?
Well, I think it's a sign that they're short on bats, that's for sure. I mean, but don't forget, there was no Teixeira last night. There was no Brian McCann last night. Certain guys had to move up, and Drew has not hit well for average. I don't want to sound like Girardi. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but he has made some decent contact at points. I think he's in a little bit of a spin now. But, I think the real serious decision is why did Girardi decide to give both those guys the day off, especially when they're both swinging the bat well at this point. It was almost like, he was taking two of his best bats out of the lineup, and I really didn't understand that. In fact, my first suspicion was that maybe Teixeira was hurt after getting hit by the pitch a couple of nights ago.
That would be a big downfall, and that would change the answer to the next question. Is it okay to start to believe in this team? Are they as good as they look right now, or is there a chance that with the age they're going to start to peter out as the season goes on?
Well, I think it's not so much are they as good as they look. Obviously, they're better than they looked the first week of the season, but I think the real question is anybody in the division a standout team? I mean, there's no runaway team here. I think there's a lot of parity in the AL East. I think any one of these five teams can win it. I mean, just look at the division now. You got the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, near the bottom, the Yankees and the Rays near the top. I don't think anybody expected that. So obviously, there's not a lot separating any of these teams. Let's not discount the Orioles. I think any of them is good enough to win it. And I think that's what keeps the Yankees in this. I don't think they're as good as the recent run they were on. But I also, as I said, I don't think they were a 1-4 team either. I think they're somewhere in the middle, and I think the division's going to be a dogfight all the way through. A lot of it depends on how healthy the pitchers stay.
Whether it's the Yankees or the World of Box and the man knows it all, it's Wally Matthews, ESPN New York. Follow him on Twitter. It's a great follow. ESPN NY Yankees. Wally, thanks so much for taking time for us. Get back to watching that fight.
My pleasure. I'll see you.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.